So a few days ago, I have made a video on C projects, which have some good response according to me. But this particular project, I have talked about some of the things like how to create your own HTTP server, how like what are the things you can create in order to become really good at C. And in this particular video, I really wanted to get a deep dive into this particular thing called create your own text editor. So today we are going to build a minimal version of it. We are not going to build this entirely in one particular video because I'm going to have some exams. I'm going to be busy after a long time. Like I'm going to be available after a long time, not busy. But yeah, today we're going to build or see how to set up your own project into this. Like if you have ever used C, most of the times probably you're going to use a typical setup, like you're going to read it using scanf or something like that, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to create a more how sophisticated way of using C. Basically a more better way to set up a C project. So today we're going to see this. We are not going to write a lot of code today, but what will going to be the idea, I will going to explain it. Got it? So firstly we're going to do the more actionable part. So you need to create a project directory. This is standard. So I'm going to create a project directory called text editor. Inside it, I'm going to initialize some of the files, and before doing that, I'm going to speak something about how to use make files. So I'm going to create a make file here. I'm going to name it as I'm going to use Neovim for this. I don't want to waste my time using VS Code. So I'm going to use something called a I'm going to create something called a makefile. What is a makefile? Makefile is a package.json. You can think of it as a package.json for your C programs. So if you can write scripts here. So I can write something like a run to actually understand it. If I type run, and then if I give an indentation, and if I type something like gcc dot slash source slash main dot c hyphen o uh, dot slash bin slash txt editor, or yeah, txc, this could be a good name, txc. Okay, so if I write something like dot slash bin slash txc, so this is going to compile and create a binary file for this particular file which doesn't exist. I'm going to create this particular main.c file really quick, but this is pretty much it. We're going to build something, so I can name it as build. So I'm going to build the script using this. I can name something like run here to run this particular script txc. As you can think, this is the two scripts I have made for the purpose of like running and building the C file, which I'm going to create right now. I'm going to create a source folder, and inside that source folder I'm going to create a file called main.c. Inside that file I'm going to create a basic hello world program in C. So this is a hello world, pretty much the hello world program for this. So now inside the make file, if I type so I need to use the build file to build it. We can use these like these commands too for building it. I'm using makefile. If you are on Linux or MacBook, I would suggest you to use makefiles because makes our life a lot easier. So if I type something like, if I open my terminal and if I type something like make run, make build, if I type make run, it's going to say that there is no bin folder right here. So if I type make build, it will give me an error that bin folder doesn't exist. So we have to build, or we have to create the bin folder first before creating it. I'm going to create a bin folder, and I'm going to, not bin file, I need a bin folder. What's the issue? Okay, I'm going to make it from the terminal itself. No hard feelings. So I've created a bin folder. So now if I try to run it, it's going to give me an error that bin folder doesn't exist. If I type make build, this is going to be executed, and we can see a txc named executable file there. So if I type make.run or make run, we're going to see the output right here. Got it? So this is the first part you have to do. It's pretty much the setup for it. What is the next thing we're going to do? We're going to accept a character string input, or the character input inside it. So we're going to read from the file descriptor itself. What is a file descriptor? File descriptor is, you can think of, like, what we are going to do, we're going to not going to use something called scanf here, because we can't use piping and those kind of things afterwards. So we need some streams in order to work with that particular thing. So because of using the streams, we need to what are streams? Actually, streams are actually the flow of the bytes, you can think of. So if we're using the flow of the bytes, we need to store it inside a character variable. So we need a variable called char c. We're using char c right here, and we need an infinite amount of characters, right? Because in text editor you write something, okay, you type something. We are using a terminal based text editor, so we're going to write or type something there, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to not going to store anything, we're not going to store anything. This will be entirely echoed automatically. So right now, as we are in the canonical form, so in terminal we're going to always be by default into the canonical form. So we'll have to go from canonical form to raw mode. I'm going to explain it into the next video. But the first thing you have to remember that by default it will be into the canonical form. And what is canonical form? Canonical form means you can use the sig term or sig int. It is by default mode of terminal. You can run a program, you can execute, or you can stop the program using control.c, control plus c. So what we are going to do, we're going to disable everything into the next video. How to do that, we're going to run about it. But today I'm going to read the particular file. Sorry, I am going to read the particular character from using like a while loop, and we're going to execute, or we're going to exit from the, we're going to see how to exit from the C program by default. So what we're going to do, we're going to write a while loop, and inside that while loop I'm going to do something like a read. This is a by default function. You can directly search about it from the, and you can read more about it. But inside the file descriptor, inside this particular function, I'm going to explain what is going to be here. So the first thing will going to be the file descriptor of it. Second thing will going to be the characters address, and the third thing will going to be the characters size. This will be the pretty much idea of how we're going to write the read function. This is the pretty much the function going to be. So inside the file descriptor, we're going to write std in file number. What is it? It is the file number for the stream file. As it is a stream, we have to take the file number for it, or we need the actual file descriptor for that particular stream of the character. So we're going to use the std file info, and we need to, it's not coming by default, we need to manually specify the number of it. It is an integer variable, so this is the constant for that particular term. So we need to import where the constant is getting stored. The constant is inside the uni std.h header file. So after that, what we are going to do, we're going to specify the address of the character. So to specify the address of the character, we're going to use the address sign. If you know C, this is pretty much the address sign. And the character size of the byte is going to be 1. So this will going to return me 1 if it's true. So this is pretty much it. This will going to run the C program, or this will, like, yeah, I haven't built it. So I'm going to, rather than every time I'm going to build and run it, so I'm going to copy this build command. I'm going to paste it right here directly. So it will automatically build and run at the same time if we type make run. Got it? Now we can type anything right here and it is basically pretty much working. So this is working like a text editor, right? We can delete anything, that's for sure. But yeah, oh yeah, we can delete it. So you can delete something, you can write something, you can enter something like this. This is pretty much working, but there is a big problem. Big problem is that we can't execute or exit out of it by default. We have to type something like Control C to get out of it. How we can fix it? I want the editor or I want the user to get out of it by default. So to do that, I'm going to use something like a god damn. So what we're going to do, we're going to use something like we can use q character, the character q for this. So if the character is equal to q, we type something like this. What will going to happen? If the character c is not equal to q, this will going to run. If it's equal to q, the loop will going to break. So now it will type, and if we type q, at first you will going to see that nothing happened. But if I type enter, this is going to go, or we get out of it. You can test it again. Make run. If you type anything right here, this will going to work. Even q, if you type it, it will going to work. But after anything after q will going to be treated as a new command, because after q, if we type enter, then only we get out. So you can't type q there. So we need a better one, like control key or something like that. Control plus q would be a good one. Going to learn about it sooner into upcoming videos. But today this is all for today's video. So you like it, please go and subscribe my channel. Yeah, that's it.